Hi art friends, it's Mrs. Price here, and I just wanted to offer a little tutorial on how we're going to set up our lavender fields. So as you can see in our inspiration picture, which is our lavender fields with a beautiful background and the rows of lavender, we're going to have to set up a little bit of a structure behind our artwork. So before we get into the colorful part and those fun things, what I'd like to spend time on today is to look at how we're actually going to structure the picture. So what we're going to be looking at is perspective. Perspective is the depth of a picture. It makes it seem as though we're looking at the picture from one place, but as our eye extends further into the distance, it creates an effect that everything else is getting farther away. So you can see that in our fields of lavender, and that's what we want to create. So what I did was I set up a little bit of a little tutorial here on my mat, and I'm going to walk you through all the steps that you should take. Now you're going to see Sharpie on my mat because I really want you to be able to see it really clearly in my video, but you should start in pencil. That way, if something happens or you have to erase something, it's going to be really easy for you. One thing I will recommend is if you have a ruler, that's great. If for some reason you don't, no problem. Just use the edge of a folder, or sometimes a notebook has like a piece of cardboard and you could just use the edge of that. So anything that's a nice straight surface will be great for getting started, okay? So let's take a look together at our mat to begin. So as you can see here, what we have is the beginning of our lavender fields. So step one is going to be this. We want to create perspective. We want to use lines, and we also want to map out our paper. And like I mentioned, we're going to do that in pencil because we want to make sure that we can fix anything before we lay down our color, as you can kind of get a peek in over here. So the first thing we'll do is I made this line on the edge. That's supposed to be your paper, okay? So you don't have to do that edge, the outline that I did. That's supposed to just be your white paper or whatever you have. So the first thing we're going to map out is this. We're going to take a look at these lines. As you can see with the lavender, they start at a point here, 1 point perspective, and they gradually, it draws your eye out to get larger and to make it look farther away. So as you can see, it's basically a V shape. So just picture a really long V. And what we're going to do is you can start with one on the side, going up, and then you can create V's going along here. So I have 2 V's and then 2 parts along here. So that would be your very first step. And this is where I mentioned it will come in handy if you have a ruler or, like I mentioned, a straight edge using a folder or a notebook. Now you can see in where I laid everything out, I didn't go all the way to the top. So we're going about what's called 3/4 or almost all the way to the top here, okay? So we got almost to the top, but we have to leave this space for something special. So we'll leave that there. So after you've done your lines, here's what I did. I took my Sharpie, you'll take your pencil, and I just kind of did dotted lines. You'll see one looks like a curve like this. I'm showing you the motion. And then the other one was up like this. And then I made a little bit of a horizon line just by dotting. And it almost makes it look like a volcano shape almost. And what I wrote here, you don't have to do the writing. This is just me explaining to you. So that the writing piece you don't have to do. The dot part is really helpful, but not the writing. But I'll explain it to you. So it says, this space will be sunlight. So what you can do is if you want to, you can pop a little bit of very light yellow just to remind yourself of what's going to go there. But you don't have to do all the coloring this week because there's other things to see this week. Then over here, it says this space will be sky. So you can go ahead and lay down a little bit of blue if you want, okay? Just to remind you that that's going to be your sky space. And then the next thing you're going to, it says this space will be shadows and mountains, because you can see in our inspirational picture, and if you're joining us from another grade, you can just kind of Google provincial fields and you'll see what we're referencing. There's a lot of great pictures available and they look very similar. So these are mountains here. So what you could do is you can actually even shade in a little bit with your pencil or with a gray or a brown, because that's eventually what we're going to layer in here. Okay. So again, our whole goal this week is really to get through and look at the beauty of some of those clips, because I just am so inspired. I hope you guys are too, by the landscape. It makes me feel like I'm on a little vacation. which I think we all enjoy right now. So my goal is that you can experience that. You can take a look at all the things that I've explained in the slides and then set this up so that next week we could start to add some color. And like I mentioned, I'm giving you a little peek of what we're going to do, okay? So just a little commercial, just so you can see what our next step is. But I figured this is plenty for 1 week, and then it'll give us a chance to take our time with our coloring and work on some coloring techniques next week. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I can't wait to see everyone soon, and especially to see all your masterpieces. Thank you so much.